Hello and welcome to this Is Ibrox podcast. This is your immediate post-match reaction to Dynamo Kyiv 1, Rangers 1 in Poland this evening. Rangers have snatched it at the end, which I'm sure we're all buzzing about. And we're going to get stuck into the match reaction right now. Joining me tonight is Iain Mitchell. Iain, how are you?
Pretty good. Yeah, the heart rate's just about coming down a wee bit after the goal at the end there. But no, I'm a lot better than I expected to be on this podcast. So there's a positive. A change from recently. There's a positive right off the bat.
Yeah, I think there was definitely times in that game that we maybe felt, I think I said it during the game, that I would have probably have taken a 1-0 defeat at points. So I think to come away in the first leg of a Champions League qualifier, and it's all to play for at home, you've come away with a draw. I think it's really good, and we will get onto that. We'll get onto the positives right at the end. We'll maybe try and save a bit of time for that, so that because there hasn't been a lot of positives with Rangers lately, so we'll try and get onto that. But we'll go through the game. We won't cover every single point in the game because, we won't have the time for that. But we'll just go over some of the talking points. First of all, Iain, there was a lot of chat when the team came out tonight. And I do want to touch on that, like some of your thoughts on it. The team tonight was Jack Butland in goals. It was James Tavernier, John Stewart, Leon Balogun and Ridvan Yilmaz. It was Connor Barron and Mohamed Diamandi in midfield, Tom Lawrence at number 10, Ross McCausland on the right, Scott Wright on the left, and Cyril Dessers up front. So again, no Václav Černý, no Robin Proper. There was maybe some thoughts that maybe Jeffrey would come in for this game. We didn't see that. Obviously, Dusan Sterling was back in the bench. I think it's fair to say there was quite a lot of negativity surrounding that lineup. But what did you think about it? Is this maybe just what the manager has to work with at the moment, or did you think there could have been a wee bit more variation in there?
I totally get that argument in terms of what the manager has at his disposal. And obviously, we don't see training, we don't see physio reports, we don't know how fit Sterling, Hefty, Proper, etc. are at this point. So there's a lot of things that we maybe don't know and don't know how fit players are. But I stand by it. That was the wrong team from the start for me. You know me, I don't like the formation that we play. I'm very vocal on the fact that we should have three at the back and have been every single pod for about 18 months now. And I did see a bit more comment about a 3-5-2 on Twitter last few days. It seemed like a lot of fans were aiming for that and wanting that, and it would have made sense, to be honest, the whole kind of defensive approach. Not a formation or a style that we can play very often, but given the circumstances, I think everyone would have accepted it and been kind of all for it. But like I say, it's not the formation I would have picked. And then you look at the front three, stands out a mile for me. There's no goals in that. There's no assist. And I say no goals, it's very harsh on Dessers, but I think we all know that we've not got the confidence that he's going to. Again, this looks a bit ironic given what we
He's certainly not clinical. He's not clinical. Yeah, that's
let's put it that way. Yeah. He's not clinical. The wingers there, they'll run all day for you, kind of thing, but they've not got the quality that we need. And especially this kind of game, it could be a moment which gets an equalizer, gets a winner kind of thing. And that was uninspiring. And I'm not a big fan of I don't want to say of Balogun, because I do like Balogun as a person, as a player. He's a good player. But the fact that we're relying on a guy of his profile at this stage is so damning for the club kind of thing. So a few worries in there. Likewise, you say about the Twitter reaction, it was probably the worst reaction I've seen to a lineup for a long time, which says a lot because we've had a fair bit of dross over the years to deal with. But yeah, not a great start before a ball was kicked. I'll say that.
Yeah, I'll try and be balanced on this one. I'm not going to lie about it. I was certainly negative about the lineup as well. I think when you've signed a Václav Černý, a Robin Proper, these are guys with experience, European experience, and I thought this was maybe the game to throw them into. I think also as well with it, you get a bit of a lift in the squad, even amongst the support when you see new players coming into the side. And I just thought maybe we could have seen that tonight. I will give the other side of it, and it's obviously easy in hindsight now. Rangers have got the result, and that's what Philippe Clement's job is. His job is to set the team up in a way that he thinks is going to get the result. And he comes away tonight and said, "Look, I've set the team up in the way I wanted. I've got the result, and now I've got another week to work with these players till the next leg." And a Robin Proper and a Václav Černý, I would imagine will both start at the next leg at home. So he looks at that and goes, look, we've got through the away tie. We're now set up for the home tie. That's obviously easy to say now when you get that result at the end. Maybe Clement would have said that regardless, even with a 1-0. But yeah, I can certainly I can understand the reaction because I was exactly the same. And I think it's completely fair to say, I know Cyril Dessers got that goal at the end, but you look at that front four for Rangers and it's not great, is it? Like, let's be honest, there's players in there that really shouldn't be playing at this point. Scott Wright, for example, bit harsh, but I just don't think he should be starting games at this point. Ross McCausland's a young boy coming through. He'll play behind Václav Černý this year, so that's good for him. But like a Tom Lawrence and things, I'm just not sure he's showing enough to be guaranteed to play every single week in a 4-2-3-1 system. But look, like I said, they got the result, and we'll move on to some of the game at this point. Iain, I thought we started the game okay. I didn't. I think you see in European ties sometimes that the home team will really put pressure on you from the start, but I didn't think that Kyiv were able to do that tonight. Maybe that comes down to their individual quality at points, and I know they had a fantastic result in the last tie, but they didn't really show that tonight. I thought we pressed a lot better from the front tonight, which again, I'll give Clement credit. He set the team up to do that. I think we're still a wee bit vulnerable on the break, and I think you see that from their goal, which we'll come to. We lose the ball and they break in and goal, and there's obviously multiple points of failure like any goal. But again, I think we look vulnerable. We did have some chances, and we did show a little bit of creativity. There was a chance with Ross McCausland where he cuts in on the right and he hits the post. It's really, really unlucky, actually. It's a great strike. But yeah, it was one of those ones that I just felt that we'd done okay. And I think building up to that goal, there's an argument to say it was harsh. I'm not sure. Maybe we didn't do enough. But I'll just ask you just before we come to the goal, how did you feel we kind of set ourselves in that game to start? Did you feel it was okay, or did you think we should have seen a lot more?
I don't think I expected a lot more. So I'm not going to sit and say, oh, we should have been doing this. We're not going to go to a team like that in the state that we're in and dominate and roll out the possession and create chances left, right and centre. That's not what we are going to be doing just now. I think everyone in terms of the fan base was thinking, just get it back to Ibrox. Just don't be out of the tie when it comes to 90 minutes. So the longer it was going 0-0, I was happy. It's always a different and kind of awkward situation for them because they've not got their home stadium. They've not got their home fans. But that plays into their hands perfectly because it was quite a quiet crowd. It was quite a cheery crowd, if that makes sense. It was just like kind of chanting constantly, but not in an aggressive way that you associate with going to these kind of teams.
That type of atmosphere you get in a World Cup or something, isn't it? Where it's exactly. Just there's fans in the stadium. Yeah.
So it was, I can't imagine many players were nervous or daunted by that crowd at all. So that's always a massive plus that we had to play on. Like you say, first 5-10 minutes, I thought we were pretty good. Good press, good shape. But from that point, I think I put a few comments in our chat. We seem to have that massive gap between the midfield and defence, which it's just got me screaming for like a number 6 to get signed again, just as I seem to do every game at this point. But that gap was just so obvious. And you talk about Lawrence being on there, he's not got the legs to press even from the get-go. So you started seeing that midfield kind of getting pulled a bit too far up, a bit too far to one side, very sloppy on the ball again. There's just a kind of common themes that we're seeing throughout pre-season. We saw again at Tynecastle the weekend, just pretty poor play. I wouldn't say we were bad, but just not anything exciting. And like you say, I don't think the goal was coming, but it's pretty telling that it's a kind of numerous mistakes lead to their goal. It wasn't like we were carved open. It wasn't a bit of genius on their end. It was just us giving them the ball, showing them where to put it, and they do that. And a team at this level, it's going to hurt you for that one.
Yeah, you're spot on. I say that all the time. Teams at this level will take advantage, and as soon as Ridvan loses the ball, I think they're going to create a good chance from it. You see that if that's in the SPFL every single week and Rangers lose the ball there, you're probably confident that Rangers will regain possession at some point. But in a European tie, that teams will create a good chance from it. And fair play to Kyiv, they cut us open pretty well. There is multiple points of failure, which we'll come to. Ridvan just gets caught in the ball. He's obviously trying to pull the ball out to the wide area to let us reset. It's caught under him. I think Conor Barron as well, maybe a wee bit of an experience there. He just kind of dives in and leaves us open. And I think we spoke about this in the chat, actually. I think John Souttar, now that I've watched it back a few times, has to do a lot better. I feel like he's ball watching a little bit. He's sitting a lot deeper. He's playing the man on side out wide. Now, if you're going to do that, okay, but then you've got to be aware that you're playing men on side and you're probably going to have someone on your blind side, and he's just completely unaware. And the boy's there at the back post. I haven't seen enough to put any blame to James Tavernier. By the way, I'm sure a lot of people will say it's at the back post again. James Tavernier should be doing better. I'm actually not sure. I'll be honest with you. I just looked at it with John Souttar. I just felt he could have done a lot better. And I think we've seen that at times with John Souttar now. He does switch off. He does have that. I'd like to hope that with another season at Rangers and consistent game time, maybe on that right-hand side, I know him and Balogun seem to be swapping at times tonight, which I thought was a bit strange for a centre-back partnership. But anyway, maybe that'll come with time, but I'm certainly a little bit worried about that. What did you make about the goal then? Because obviously there is the multiple points of failure. Is that an opportunity, for example, for Ridvan? Does he just have to get out his feet and clear it even down the line when he's under pressure? Or do we want our players to play that way? And then would you make it a John Suter in that? Does he have to do a lot better?
Yeah, it was very Cantwell against Aris for me. So yes, you've got that initial error in terms of Ridvan or Cantwell giving the ball away needlessly. I think Ridvan has a pass on the inside he can easily make, but as you say, tries to go round, which I'm not too bothered by, to be honest. I think if you lose the ball there, fair enough, it's a defender losing the ball, but you had Barron had a chance. You had the whole defence was then pretty well set, other than left back. So it's not as if Ridvan gave the ball away and they were in, kind of thing. So yes, Ridvan can do better, but it's all on Suter for me. I've watched it back a few times. I don't think Tav's anything to blame because he has two men, so he has to kind of stay out of it a little bit. And Suter is not only playing them all inside, he's so deep, needlessly deep, because if you look at him and Balogun, it's properly like one's here, one's there, like one's sweeping behind, but so deep. It's not as if you're a guy against a guy with pace here. Like Yarmolenko's, 34, 35, never had pace at West Ham. Great player, very clever player. So you can see him do that kind of classic move of going, stopping, going the other way, and that's how he gets his space. So we're done a little bit. But for me, Suter knows where his man is the whole time, has a look back, knows where he is. Ball starts to come across, and he just ball watching. Just so basic. I feel quite bad because I'm very pro Suter. I like John Suter. I think he helps us a lot. I think he is a good SPL defender. But this is we're touched on it a minute ago. This is a different level. Every striker, every attacker you play against is smart. They know where to move, when to move, and if you are ball watching, just that split second gives them a tap in. So yeah, a little bit annoyed because, like I say, I've been saying that Suter has just been having these errors and these mistakes because of the whole left-sided thing, but he can't really excuse that for me. It's so basic, it's so needless, and we touched on it before. We weren't getting battered by Kyiv at this point. It's not as if it was like attack. It was very much a 50-50 game. You're looking at going, right, another 10 minutes, see it out here, get to half-time, regroup, but that just gave them the whole impotence. And the big worry for me at that point was, we know what this Rangers team do. They concede, heads drop, they concede again. Obviously we didn't, so that's one thing, but the next 5-10 minutes were very hide behind the couch kind of thing and just pray to God we get to half time. But thankfully, for once, we actually did.
Yeah, well, I have to agree with you that that's usually the way I feel about it as well, right? I feel that Rangers will end up conceding another goal, and I felt they were shaky for the next 5 minutes. So yeah, fair play to them. They get through that because it can't be easy at that level to lose a goal. The other team get a lot of momentum. But I do have written in my notes here, it is typical. That's the way we lose a goal in a tie like this. Do you know what I mean? Where it wasn't a great performance tonight, right? I'm actually stretching to say a good performance, but ultimately you've got the result, and that's all that matters, right? That's football. That's the way it works, and where we are as it stands, that's really all we're striving for right now because we know the squad's not ready really for this level. We just want the results to keep us going, keep momentum, and I think that's why I've got it written there. We've done a lot of the good parts to build ourselves into that game, even if you're not playing amazing. But it's typical that's the way you give the goal away. And just, it's worth touching on Yarmolenko. I think you've seen at times tonight why he's played at the level he's played at, because I thought at times in that first half, I think you're right to say he's not getting any pace about him or anything like that, but he was turning Ridvan inside out like multiple times in the half with just really subtle little movements to create space to get the ball in and things like that. So that's the kind of quality you're coming up against. Thankfully, I think the rest of the Dynamo Kyiv team didn't really have a lot about them. There was some kind of good individual play in there, but it's not a team you would really look at and think, and I've seen this on Twitter a lot of the time through the game. Rangers teams throughout the last few European, ties or years that we've played would have probably battered that side. Do you know what I mean? Like that is the type of team we're playing tonight, and that's not taking anything away with them or underestimating them. That's just being honest. I will get to this at the end, but I would back us to go and deliver in the second leg. Look, well, We'll jump into the second half now. There wasn't too much that happened in the second half. Thankfully, we finished that second half with a real positive, right? So we'll get through a lot of this so we can talk about that. We brought Hefty on at half-time for Scott Wright. I actually thought the second half was started sloppy. I thought we were kind of poor in possession. I think there was multiple points where Ridvan had the opportunity to play the ball down the line, like a slide rule pass down the line, and he's playing put out a touch 3 times in a row. So that was very difficult to watch. Dessers forces a great save at one point as well from a header. We've seen Václav Černý come on for Ross McCausland on that right-hand side, and I actually thought Hefty and Černý both made a difference actually for our threat. I thought Ross McCausland was fine and had a decent game, but I just thought you've seen a wee bit of a difference with Václav Černý, as you would expect. And I think that ability to come on the inside, he's a threat, and we see that for the goal. So, yeah, I think there were certainly positive and negatives in that second half. I just wanted to, before we move on to the real positive part of this podcast, I just wanted to touch on Philippe Clement's substitutions, because I think, again, we've seen tonight that there's a lot of debate around the changes that Clement makes. And again, I'll caveat this with, we get the result, right? So Clement comes out of this and goes, I've made these changes and I've got the result, right? Okay, and that's fair. But there's just a couple of things for me. Connor Barron, I thought, had quite a good game. He takes him off. He also takes Mohamed Diamandi off. Leaves on a Tom Lawrence, who I think, again, tonight, I don't really think contributes enough. I think at times you see his quality, but do you see it through enough throughout the game? I'm not sure. And I think you highlighted this in an earlier answer. We are very, very stretched in midfield. And, if Connor Barron drops deep, Mohamed Diamandi's kind of left on his own in the middle, because Tom Lawrence isn't going to drop back. And even if he does drop back and the ball gets played into him, more often than not, he loses it. So it's a bit of a strange one how he manages to last the game. I wonder if there is a little bit involved here in that, okay, that these are the players that are fit for me right now, so I'm going to kind of run them into the ground, and when I've got other players to come in, their spots will be taken. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I wanted to get your opinion on the substitutions, because it has been a chat all over social media. People are looking at it and going, I don't really understand the changes. What do you make of them?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack in that. Because there's a lot of questions about the subs, to be honest. In a generic term, I don't understand why the subs always have to be so like for like, if that makes sense. It's never a sub to change the shape. It's never a sub to try something new. And don't get me wrong, by the end, you started to notice Tavernier sort of tucking in, and Stellum was becoming the right back a couple of times. So we were doing a little bit difference there, and we got some success from it. But like you said, Lawrence and Dessers, again, caveat, he scores the equalizer, so whatever. But the fact they're both playing 90 minutes back to back, especially at this stage of a season where fitness is a big thing for Clement, but as you say, he's running a couple of players into the ground while another couple, Barron's the kind of perfect example. He looked fine to me. He wasn't looking tired. He wasn't stretching. He wasn't looking down. He looked fine. Whereas Diamandi coming off, I think he ran into the ground a little bit. He looked shattered. But Lawrence, again, he doesn't do anything too much on the ball for me, especially tonight, didn't do much. And off the ball, he just makes us a lot weaker. So if it was Lawrence coming off to let Diamandi be the number 10, I think that would have made more sense. It's a bit less taxing for him. He could have shown his quality a little bit more. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me, like I say. I think the Černý sub was good, because he did have those little touches. He's a very clever player, I think. He knows where to go, when to come inside, when to go out. Decent passer. He did give the ball away quite a lot. He did look like a player who's only had a few minutes this season, but that makes sense. This is his second game in months, I think, at this point. So you can cut him the slack there. Hefty was the one that really impressed me, to be honest. Came on for right, so the bar's pretty low, not going to lie. But I think him at left wing, there's definitely a potential there. I think we saw in the pre-season friendlies, not that he's not a left back, but I don't think he's ready to be a left back just yet, especially against a decent team. In the league, I'm sure he'll be fine. But that level, I think left wing is perfect for him, because he has that pace, he has power, decent cross on him as well, I have to say. 2 or 3 good balls into the box at times there. So he's definitely got something about him, and he was helping out Ridvan a little bit. I do need to call out Ridvan. That is the worst Ridvan performance I've seen for Rangers. Again, quite a big fan of his. I do like him as a player. I think he makes us better, gives us a bit more options at left back compared to what Barisic did last season. But he was so poor tonight. It was really stressful to watch at times, because, like you say, he was just passing out the park, a simple pass to put Dessers through, had another one to put Lawrence through, just overcooked it completely, which is not really like him. So I know it's like disappointment there, but try and keep it a more positive train. Good to see Hefty have a solid performance. Great to see Sterling back, you just feel safer with Sterling. It's a weird complex. He's so good at everything, so good everywhere that it's just nice to see him back in the pitch, kind of thing. And as much as we are kind of questioning and unsure of the subs here and there, it did get the goal in the end. So made by one of those subs, of course. So all credit to Clement, I think.
Yeah, look, no, I think it's fair. I just wanted to ask that question because I've seen a lot of chat about it, and it's one of those ones where, yeah, of course you get the goal and it's a positive, right? And Clement does deserve credit, but I think the questions are still valid. You know, looking like look, Danilo's a big one for me, right? I'm not really understanding how he's not getting on the park at all, right? Now, I'm not saying that he should have come on for Cyril Dessers. Cyril Dessers scores a winner, right? But for the last 15 minutes, could you replace Tom Lawrence with a Danilo and just, you're kind of playing a 2 out of possession anyway. Could you try it? Yeah. I don't know. That's one I'm sure that the guys will be back tomorrow talking about on the Wednesday podcast, and they'll break it down more. But you know, there's a lot of things we could dig into that game in terms of substitutions. But I don't want to be negative about it. It was a good result, of course. I think it's a valid point. I just wanted to say as well, Hefty, I think you're right. I think defensively, like positionally, I'm not convinced yet with Hefty, and I think that'll take time. And to be honest, I wasn't really expecting him to come in and be the first choice left back. I never ever expected that. I always thought it would be Ridvan. Ridvan's obviously after tonight, he's giving Hefty a better chance of being the first choice left back. But I thought when he came on, what he done really well was I thought he worked well with Ridvan. He kind of understood where he had to be at times based on where Ridvan was, and he's very direct, like willing to just go at his man and run at his man. And we haven't really seen a lot of that, especially on the outside. Someone that actually has the quality to consistently run with the ball, dribble the ball, and beat their man. Scott Wright that's this kind of style, but how successfully is it that? I think we all know. So yeah, that was refreshing to see. So there's certainly some positives in there. Hefty's actually, we'll just come on to the goal now for Rangers towards the end of the game, of course. Hefty's involved in it. He actually plays a switch over to Václav Černý. Černý does really well actually to keep the ball in, and he just cuts back in his left foot, and it's a great ball in. Again, you've got to give a lot of credit to Cyril Dessers, and this is something that I've spoken about before. Cyril Dessers' movement is good. Like genuinely is good. Like it's not luck that Cyril Dessers gets all the chances he gets. That's not the way it works, right? I think we all want Cyril Dessers to be a more composed finisher, to show a little bit more technical quality, you know, in terms of holding the ball up and things like that. But the chances he gets, he earns them, right? And he does it again. He makes a really good movement to the front post, and he's there and he finishes. And this is European football. Sometimes you snatch it. You know, it was literally the last kick of the ball, which is, I don't know about you, Iain, but I love that. I love when you score a goal right at the end, because you can imagine the other team are just so frustrated. We would be as support on the other side of that. So I loved seeing that. Tell me your thoughts on that goal, because like you said, that you know, it's 2 new signings involved in it. And then we've got Cyril Dessers, who is consistently questioned. He delivers again and grabs the equalizer.
Yeah, you got it spot on. The cross makes the goal. It's a bit of quality that we didn't see the full game, because, like you say, Dessers, the movement is always there with Dessers. I hate that argument that, if Danilo was there, or last season it was, if Roof was there, he would have scored that. But there's a reason Dessers gets there. It is the movement. It's very clever. It's just what happens when he gets there. Normally, that's the bit of the sticking point, obviously. But no, I think there was a couple of comments that I was seeing on Twitter about Černý not being on it and being quite poor. I think it was so harsh because, as I touched on, he's had so little football. But that one bit of quality has got us a point, which, again, we're not through yet. There's still a lot of work to do next week, but that's a massive boost to us, massive loss to Kyiv, and it's all from that brilliant cross, good bit of movement. And I was going to say he couldn't miss, but, you know, we've seen him miss those chances, Dessers, so I'm not going to quite say couldn't miss, but good movement, gets a good connection, and as you say, last kick of the ball, I don't even think they took kick off before the whistle went at the end. So absolute beautiful scenes, which we deserve. We deserve a nice bit of good scenes for a change. It's been a tough few weeks.
Yeah, we definitely do. I was absolutely jumping about my living room when that went in. The beauty of it as well was you don't expect it. Like, I was not expecting an equaliser. So when that Černý ball comes in, you're really just hoping for a connection of some sort, even like a rebound or something. And the fact that Desser's burst to the front post and he gets it, fair play to him. He gets like I'm one that absolutely hammers Celio Dessers. I'm not going to change my stance. I don't think he's good enough to be the first choice number 9 at Rangers. That's not going to change after tonight. But I love his mentality. I love it. Like he just continues to go, and when he's called up to play for Rangers, he gives his all. And to be honest, there's plenty of people within that squad that I think a lot of the support field don't give their all, and there's plenty in there that that are still signed for Rangers that don't want to be here, and aren't willing to play. And Cyril Dessers is doing it, so he deserves a lot of credit for it as well. Just to touch on Václav Černý quickly, and this is something we've been talking about as a support. That's the quality we need, so that you can see that now. That's the type of signing we need to go up a level. Have we seen the best of Václav Černý yet? I hope not, right? Because I think with the minutes we've seen, I think there's still a lot more to come. But it's just that little bit of quality sometimes that gets you a result, and we've seen that. Yeah. So
the fact is, seeing that moment, Ross McCausland, Ravi Matondo, Scott Wright don't make that cross.
No, they don't.
Don't make that cross. Doesn't
they
happen.
Don't.
So without that bit of quality, that bit of actual ability, we're 1-0 lost there on the way home.
Exactly. That's the best way to put it. So, Iain, just before we finish up, then just give me your overall thoughts going into next week, then, because really Rangers have set up the tie, to go for it. Of course, it's not going to be Ibrox. It's not going to be that atmosphere that we all expect, and maybe we don't see the same level of atmosphere in the qualifiers, right, that we do in group stage football. I think we would all admit that, but it's going to be Hampden. It's going to be different for the support. What are you expecting from next week, and do you think Rangers can get the result?
I mean, if you look at Kyiv, first of all, this is going to sound daft. I wasn't disappointed in them, but they were so much worse than I thought they were going to be. I mean, all the talk was how they scored 9 goals in 2 games. They were incredible going forward, high pressing, high intensity. Saw none of that, to be honest. I think, like I said, if we'd lost that 1-0, the feeling's totally different here. We're the one here complaining and sluggish and a bit down. But if you look at the game sort of from a step back, we'll try and watch it back the next day or so and kind of take more collective thoughts. But I thought we were the team in the second half who looked better. Again, we didn't look good. I'm not going to start saying we were great, nothing like that. But they looked pretty dead on their feet way before we would. Again, all the talk was, like I say, how good they were, how much of a threat we'd see. Did Butland make much of a save? There's a couple of saves he made in the first half. I think one...
A few straight down the middle, wasn't it?
Exactly. Nothing too taxing, nothing that he sort of shouldn't have saved kind of thing. So if you'd offered me one each before the game, take it all day. I think I said in work today, if I could beat 2-0, I'd probably take that at this point, given how low it was, especially when I seen that starting lineup. So pretty delighted with the draw. And yeah, I'm probably stupidly, but I'm pretty confident for next week. Again, like you touched on right at the start, another week training, another week where Černý can get a bit more fit. The team's starting to gel a little bit. Again, is that generous? I'm not too sure, but you put a proper in that team, you put Černý in that team, you get Stelling in from the start. Suddenly you've got the crux of a decent starting 11 there, and a starting 11 I think can get through.
Yeah, I think you're bang on, and I think you're right to bring up. It is another week now that Rangers have got towards that time. Even that tie, should I say, even a Robin Proper coming in now, because I would imagine he is going to play going forward.
Surely.
That hopefully gives us a bit more solidity at the back, a bit more of a leader back there, experienced leader, which is something that's really good. So I think we've set this up really well. You're hoping as well, just psychologically, this gives everyone a lift, because I think we all know this, right? Everyone at Rangers within the club will know the way the support are feeling, right? That they're not oblivious to it. Okay, so they'll know that the real feelings amongst the support. Now you're hoping a lot of the support tonight get a lift from this, and you're hoping that the squad do as well and the manager does. And we go into this game against Motherwell at the weekend, and we go and try and put on a performance. It's the first time we're going to be playing at Hampden. You're looking to go in there. You're looking to try and make a bit of a, get a bit of a bounce, make a bit of an impact. And I'm hoping that more than anything, actually, this can be a big psychological boost, regardless of the actual tie and how it's set up. That's a really good result, and you're right to highlight it. I completely agree with you. Dynamo Kyiv did not look anywhere near as good as I think they were bigged up to be before this tie. Maybe there's two sides of that. Maybe you're looking at the 9-2 against Partizan and thinking, wow, they must be great. And you're also looking for us on our side and thinking, wow, we really don't have the squad at the moment. So look, I think it's gave us a good insight to that team tonight, and I'd like to think that if Rangers turn up next week with a wee bit more in terms of the squad being there, you touched upon it earlier with Dujon Stelling as well. I'm sure he'll play this game, right? So you're looking home with a wee bit more energy, a wee bit more quality. Rangers should have enough to get the result and put us through to that playoff round, which is really important. I think we've got a great chance of getting through if we actually get there. Two good sides in Salzburg in 20. We won't touch upon that at the moment, the Sam Lammers derby, right? But, you know, it does give you a good chance that you get the payoff as well, the parachute payment of, I think it's €5 million. So that's massive for us right now where we are financially. We do need these things at the moment to give us a little bit of a boost and maybe helps us bring in a couple of players. So look, I think it's certainly given me a lift, as you can probably tell. I hope it's given the support a lift because I think we need it at this point. I think we've all been struggling watching Rangers lately. So hopefully, yeah, like I said, we go into the weekend with a bit of positivity. We hopefully get our league season going with a win. And then you go into that second leg next week, and hopefully we get the job done, and we go on in this Champions League qualifying run. But yeah, Iain, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for coming on and breaking down the game with me. We are back tomorrow at 8:30, so there'll be a longer podcast breaking down this game. We'll look ahead to Motherwell at the weekend as well. I'm sure there'll be Rangers transfer talk in there, as there always is during a transfer window. But Iain, yeah, thanks for joining me.
Pleasure. For once, it was genuinely a pleasure. Not against you, don't get me wrong. Just the football.
I've taken that one personally. No, like I think we all know that it's not been enjoyable to watch Rangers as of late. So yeah, I'm glad that we've been able to come on because, like you said right at the start of this, I don't think we expected to come on and for this to end in a positive way. So I'm thankful it has, and like I said, gives us a boost now, and hopefully we can kick on. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. If you do enjoy the content, as always, please like the video, leave your comments down below in terms of, you know, how beneficial do you think this will be for the team going forward. That's something I'm curious to read about. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.